Washington Township, I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Education to order. Statement of meeting notice. Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the public 48 hours in advance of the date, setting forth the date, time, location, and type of meeting. Notice was sent to the Daily Record, the Observer Tribune, and Washington Township Clerk, and it was posted on the district website at www.wtschools.org. All please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to enter executive session to discuss a personnel matter.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And length of time should be about 30 minutes, and no formal action will be taken. Thanks. Thank you, everybody. So moving on, we're back from executive session. President's comments. Good evening and happy summer. I hope everyone enjoyed the first few days of summer break. And a quick update on the superintendent search. Kathleen Hellowa hosted a community input session on June 3rd. There was also an email sent out on June 12th for a stakeholder survey where community members can participate in a confidential online input survey. I highly recommend those who want to have a say to please take a moment to do so. And additionally, for those unaware, there is a section on our district website under the district section and on the homepage called Superintendent Search, where you can find out all the latest information on this process. And I also received a letter from one of our teachers, Mrs. Abate, and I just wanted to read it out because I thought it was a pretty incredible collaboration from some of our students and community. So we are pleased to inform you of a recent community initiative led by the Long Valley Middle School Student Council that has had significantly enhanced the aesthetic appeal in front of LVMS. We are proud to share that this beautification project was initiated by our dedicated student council who worked to coordinate the efforts and resources needed to bring this vision to life. Through the generous contributions of 3 local businesses, we have been able to transform the landscape in front of the school. I think we have a couple of pictures as well. So the first one was Frederickson's Landscaping. They provided all the labor for the project, and their team removed old plants, weeds, replanted the new plants, and laid down the mulch and river rock. Their hard work and dedication, thank you, were crucial in executing this project efficiently and effectively. Next was Ort Farms. They donated 80% of the mulch to use in this project. This substantial contribution played a significant role in ensuring that the landscaped areas are well nourished and protected, thereby enhancing the sustainability and appearance of our new landscaping. And third was Hoffman Supply, who generously donated all the plants, 20% of the mulch, and the river rocks. The plants they provided have added a vibrant and welcoming look to the front of our building, while the river rocks have been aesthetically arranged to complement the overall design. So please join me in acknowledging and appreciating the contributions of Frederickson's Landscaping, Ort Farms, and Hoffman's, as well as all the hard work and vision of our student council. Their dedication to improving our school environment exemplifies the strong community spirit we are fortunate to have. We are incredibly grateful for their support and commitment to our school community, and we are proud of our student leadership for taking on such a meaningful and beneficial project. Thanks. Did you go for it? You want me to move it? Okay. I think that's it. All right. That was it. I just wanted to show the public some pictures that we received as well. So. And let's see. Moving on to superintendent's comments. Before we invite our interim superintendent, Mary Beth Kovacs, up, I think Katie's just going to read through the HIB report.
Sure. So the HIB report through the end of the school year, there were 3 unfounded HIBs and 1 founded.
Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to invite up our interim superintendent, Mary Beth Kovacs, so she can introduce herself and say a few things. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank President Olmixon and the entire board for this wonderful opportunity and for their vote of confidence. I'm truly honored to be serving as interim superintendent starting July 1st, supporting such a wonderful school district and close-knit community as you search to find a permanent superintendent of schools. Since being board approved, I've had the pleasure of meeting with central office staff, administrators, board members, visited all the schools and seen all these wonderful children doing amazing things. Everyone has been so kind and welcoming, and it's evident that everyone takes such pride in being a part of this district. Just so you know a bit about me, again, my name is Mary Beth Kovacs. If you want to use the proper Polish pronunciation, it's Kopacz. But very few of my husband's family uses Kopacz. Most of the family says Kopacz, so I answer by either. I'm married to my high school sweetheart, and I won't tell you how long because then you'll do some math and figure out how old I am. But I'm married, have 2 grown married children with their families, 2 grandchildren, and a granddog. I value public education tremendously, and I've been in it for over 27 years, have worn many, many hats, teaching every grade level from pre-K through 5, literacy coach, reading specialist, supervisor, ELA supervisor, director, principal, kind of if you name it, I've probably had some hand in a role in education. and I'm extremely proud of everything I've done, and I'd like to continue to contribute to the field. Several of my main goals include being a strong advocate for students, staff members, families, fostering collaboration and positive relationships, open lines of communication with all stakeholders. And in closing, I know there are many exciting things happening in the 2024-2025 school year, and I want to support the district through these initiatives, visiting buildings and classrooms, celebrating our students, while listening, learning ways to support the district during this time of transition, and as we continue on our path to excellence. Thank you so much for the opportunity again. I'm always available, whether it's phone call or email. Please feel free to reach out to me at any time with any concerns, or more importantly, celebrations and how we can celebrate all the good work that we're doing here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Moving on to correspondence. This month we have received correspondence from I. Diaz, T. and D. Driscoll, and M. Abate. And moving on to committee reports, we have Education Committee.
Okay, there we go. The Education Committee met June 11th at 11 o'clock, and in attendance was Cindy Ruggiero, Carmine Capograsso, myself, Isabel Vera, Denise Scarpin, and Debbie Rousseau. Denise Scarpin gave a 30-minute presentation of the effects of screen time use in students under the age of 13. The committee will recommend this astonishing presentation to be given to parents of the Washington Township in the very near future. Debbie Russo attended the meeting to show us the results of the high-impact tutoring program. Ms. Russo wrote the grant and designed the program. The results were very positive, but we did not have enough time to go into further detail. Ms. Russo offered to join us at our next meeting. Other topics that we discussed as a result of the Screen Time presentation were social emotional learning and 1,000 hours outside initiative.
Thank you. And Finance Committee?
Finance and Facilities met on June 3rd. In attendance were Jess, Lindsay, John, Katie, Stephanie, myself, and one member of the public, as this was Washington Township's first ever open Finance Committee meeting. The committee first discussed the long-range facilities plan. That plan needs to be updated every 5 years. And as I think most of you are well aware, a number of projects have just moved off the plan and are being actively worked as part of the referendum that recently passed. So that list for the long-range facilities plan needs to be updated, and the committee discussed using the same weighted selection matrix that was used to develop and prioritize the projects for the referendum to add and prioritize the projects on the long-range facilities plan. Next, the committee discussed the fact that this is a CUSAC year for us. We went over a summary of the point system as well as the 5 main district performance review areas, and the committee is going to further investigate any point losses we had on our last CUSAC review to ensure that actions have been taken to make sure we don't lose points for similar things this round. Then the committee reviewed the summer projects. First up was the Cuccinella Masonry Pier project. The demolition has been completed. The bricks have been ordered. We have recently added to that project. There were a number of cracks in the sidewalk leading up to the vestibule, so that sidewalk is going to be re-poured and replaced. The Old Farmers Road School and Cuccinella paving is on schedule. The Cosman window project, the windows have been delivered. Flocktown and Cosman roof and HVAC systems. If you've driven by on Flocktown Road, you've probably seen the construction materials as well as the enormous crane that's out there already. So they've started work. The middle school, Long Valley Middle School generator, much of the work on that project turns out is going to be able to be done by our in-house electrician. So we're very grateful to be able to save a substantial amount of money on that project due to his efforts. And beyond the referendum projects, we have a number of facility summer projects, as we always do at the end of the year. The first is to replace all the indoor security cameras. That'll be done over the course of the summer, again, the efforts of our electrician. The Flocktown kitchen floor replacement, as well as an associated abatement effort. some tree trimming at Old Farmers Road School and removal at Flocktown Cosmo near the playground, 2 new fire doors at the middle school library, lighting in the LVMS gym to match the existing lighting upgrades that were performed a couple of years ago, and a new border for the Flocktown playground. So a substantial number of improvements are going to be made to the district over the course of the next several months, and we're excited about that. Next thing on the agenda for the committee was to review the transfer resolution, which is item number 10 on tonight's agenda, and that is moving $2.6 million into our capital reserve. There was some deliberation on where we should move the money. Should we move it into capital reserve, maintenance reserve, or a combination? And the ultimate decision was to move it into capital reserve due to the needs of the district to complete capital projects, which are by statute different from maintenance projects, and we can't use funding from one bucket to pay for projects that should be paid for by another bucket. So the entire amount is going to be transferred into capital reserve. And then finally, the committee reviewed the projections for extraordinary aid for next year, as well as the amounts we received in the previous 2 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Next is public comment on agenda items. If anyone has public comment on agenda items, please approach the microphone, state your name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes to provide comment. Okay, moving on to approval of minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the May 14th meeting minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions or anything? Oh, second? We have a second?
Are you
All right.
asking for one or making one?
I thought I heard somebody say all in favor then?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to education. Can I get someone to move education?
Sure. Education would like to move to make a motion to approve agenda items 1 through 5.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. DeSico? Yes. Mrs. Ryan? Yes. Mr. Capagrosso? Yes. Mrs. Succi?
Yes.
Mr. Hawley? Yes. Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira? Yes. Mr. Oldmixon?
Yes. And moving on to finance, can I have someone move finance?
Yes, Finance would like to move agenda item number 6. Motion to accept with gratitude the following contributions. Please bear with me. This is thankfully a lengthy list. $4,041.55 from the Flocktown Cosman PTA to be used for teacher grants as follows. $250 to Mrs. Grouse for Social Emotional Learning Educator Starter Kit, $155 for a Scholastic Little Leveled Reader, $864.34 for Social Emotional Learning Educator Starter Kit, $779.90 for Keeping the Beat Percussion Set, $551.20 for Buddy Up and Read Books, $290 for Spring Incubation Program, $324.31 for Flexible Seating, $826.80 for Buddy Up and Read Books. Letter B, $1,957.99 from the Flocktown Cosman PTA to be used for the purchase of a Nina Sensory Path as follows. Is that supposed to be Ninja?
Their letter said Nina and Ninja.
It did say Nina.
So that's what
Okay.
it was.
$1,500 for a Ninja Sensory Path, $425 for a Snake Infinity Loop, $32.99 for a Sensory Input Texture Mat. And finally, letter C, Student Council-led landscaping project at the Long Valley Middle School entrance that President Olmixon already mentioned in his remarks, as follows: Frederickson's Landscaping, Ort Farms, and Hoffman Supply.
Do we have a second? Second. Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. DeSico? Yes. Mrs. Ryan? Yes. Mr. Capagrosso?
Yes.
Mrs. Succi?
Yes.
Mr. Hawley?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira? Yes. Mr. Oldmixon?
Yes.
Next, Finance would like to move items number 7 through 23 on tonight's agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. DeSico? Yes. Mrs. Ryan? Yes. Mr. Capagrosso?
Yes.
Mrs. Succi?
Yes.
Mr. Hawley?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira? Yes. Mr. Oldmixon?
Yes. Next is personnel. Can somebody please move personnel?
Personnel would like to move items 24 through 41 on the agenda.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Actually, yeah, I would like a discussion. I just want to call out John Forrestal in the back of the room. Sorry for the shout out. I just want to say thank you so much for all that you have done in your time here, along with doing the sound and the setup for the board meetings. He has been a huge contribution to bringing back the musicals in the middle school, as well as really getting children excited about learning instruments. Even children that were a little hesitant to try new instruments, he's gotten them to try new instruments and has made such an impact on their lives and really fostered the love of music that they have. And at the middle school level, that is really something to be proud of. So we just want to say thank you so much. And I wish you all the best of luck in your next endeavor. No doubt it'll be successful. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. There's no other discussion. Can we have a roll call?
Mrs. DeSico?
Yes.
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Capagrosso? Mrs. Succi?
Yes.
Mr. Holly? Yes. Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Vieira? Yes. Mr. Oldmixon?
Yes. And moving on to unfinished business. Does anybody have any unfinished business? Does anybody have any new business? Okay, moving on to public comment. This is public comment on all items. Again, please approach the microphone, state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes.
How you doing? Bill Martin, Fawn Ridge Drive. I also drive a bus for the district, so I'm kind of here in that regard to bring up a couple items. Hopefully get your input and maybe some action on them. The first one is what's going on with syncing the district calendar with the high school? What's the holdup? What are the roadblocks? Who or what is preventing this from happening? Second one is running reds on the buses. We get a lot of times when folks go past our red lights when we're letting kids off the bus or getting kids on the bus. Some drivers are very aggressive at prosecuting it, others are not. You guys went through a lot of time and effort and expense to put cameras in the buses, which has really helped out, made it a lot easier to do. The problem is it's a pain in the neck to do it. It takes a lot of our own time. There's absolutely no reason why, I would think anyway, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to file a complaint and the police should follow through with it. We shouldn't have to go through all the nonsense of going back and forth to the police department, to the town hall, to the court, to the prosecutor's meeting, to the trial, whatever you want to call it. This should be something that the police could do. Third thing is the no turn in red sign that's in the center of town now. I assume that you guys were involved in getting that up. Maybe I'm wrong. That's an experiment that's gone on for most of the last school year. And the main thing that it's done is to prevent traffic from moving easily through the intersection. Right now, it's no turn on red between 2 and 4, every Monday to Friday, whether school's in session or not. Why? There's absolutely no reason for it. There's push buttons that the kids can use to cross. My understanding, it was mainly for the middle school kids, so they can go over to Dunkin' Donuts or the Coffee Potter after school. And 99% of the time, there's a cop there whose job it is to help the kids cross. Again, putting a sign up is triple redundant. There's no reason to prevent traffic from going. What happens during dismissal at the middle school here is we've sat in traffic for 15 minutes trying to go from here to the light because people are going through, going through the light as they should, but then the cars are stopping for the no turn on red. So now we've got to wait for all those cars to clear out before we can make a left-hand turn to go up the hill. I would think that's something that you folks should be able to get involved with the police, the town, the county, and get that removed. Like I said, the only thing that I see that it's done is slow traffic down and prevent a smooth flow of traffic. Hopefully, you guys can take some of this up, and you know how to get a hold of me. You know where I live. You know my email address. Anybody who wants to talk to me, I'll be glad to go ahead and share my experiences or make some suggestions to you, specific suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And is there any other public comment before we address that?
Hi, John Forrestal. Do I have to say my address? Okay. Many of you know who I am. I just wanted to come up and formally say thank you for the last 4 years. It's been a pleasure working for you and with you guys at Long Valley Middle School. It's a bittersweet decision, and I'm going to definitely miss the community here. So I really appreciate all of the time and support the families and the staff and the board have given me here, and I'm very grateful for my time here. So thank you.
Thanks, John. And is there any other public comment? Okay. Just first and foremost, I just want to, again, John, thank you very much for your time, and thank you for the comment. With regards to the other topic, our superintendent is not here tonight, who is more involved in the day-to-day operations of the school district, more than myself, and I will open it up, anybody from the board who wants to chime in. I wasn't aware of some of the issues that have been going on, but I really thank you for raising it. And I can assure you it will be looked into and addressed. We do have Peter for 2 more weeks, so we can kind of go into more detail from his side. We're working with Mary Beth, the new superintendent, interim superintendent, and we do have good communication with the mayor and the chief of police. So it should be no issue, at least validating the concerns that you have. And I'd like to get some more information on it from them as well, and hopefully we'll have an answer for you after we discuss it. I'll leave it up to anybody else if they wanted to chime in.
So I actually have, I know the history of all those things. So if you want me to,
Go
hey
ahead.
Bill. So with the high school not syncing up to our district, so if you recall, the high school decided to start 2 weeks earlier a bunch of years ago in preparation for standardized testing, which is fine for older kids that can be left home alone and not supervised. For a lot of our younger learners, to start in the middle of August when it's still very hot and most of our schools are still not air conditioned. I know that was a concern and something that was talked about. There were some times where even the high school had to shut down because it was too hot and kids were sent home, kids were passing out. It was a real concern. The other concern from a lot of the community members who had young children was when summer camps start, like a lot of the working community. So if we start mid-August, like the high school does, then that means parents are scrambling to find childcare, because there's no more aftercare, or there wasn't at the time, between the middle of June and the end of June when camps start. We tried to split the difference, so that's why we're only 1 week apart instead of 2 weeks apart, and that's where we landed. So I hope that that's some sort of context with that. In regards to the cameras with the buses, it was before my time, but when I raised that issue with Jeff, and I know I talked to Chief Almer about it and some of the local police department, because that feed is not directly sent to the PD, this is my understanding, and you can obviously get clarity from Chief Almer, they can't issue a ticket because they're not witness to it. So just like anybody, any civilian can go ahead and file a complaint and actually get a ticket written for any sort of violation that they witness or whatever, you need to come forward as basically a civilian complaint, unfortunately. Maybe talk to Chief Almer and see if there is a way to shorten the whole back and forth. I know it's cumbersome because obviously I've done it with my husband. And then in regards to the sign, we have never had a discussion with it. Again, that's a traffic thing. That was either a town decision or a police decision. So again, that's something to bring to them. Did I hit all those?
Yeah, it affects the dismissal.
I know. No, I mean, I think it's fair point to bring it to the mayor and ask the question.
I was going to say, instead of, I'll directly contact the mayor and Chief Almer and voice the concerns, and hopefully if I get an answer back, whether it's a good or bad answer, at least I'll get back to you on what they say. And if there's still an ongoing issue or things are still unresolved or you still want to have some more input, feel free to email the board as well.
And I think as a minimum, we can commit to formalizing this by adding this to the agenda of our next Finance and Facilities meeting. So we can at least, apologies, I can at least commit to adding this to the Finance and Facilities agenda so we can formalize it and we can take whatever actions we can to streamline the process, engage with the mayor, and hopefully make some improvements. And I will also personally be reaching out to you, Bill, to get your thoughts on it. So thank you.
Thanks. Moving on to district distinctions. Two things for district distinctions tonight. Please join us for the Washington Township Community Night Out on Tuesday, July 16th from 6 to 9, which has a rain date of July 17th. This free event offers live music, face painting, games, live entertainment, tasty food, including pizza, hot dogs, and ice cream. And don't miss this opportunity for a fun-filled evening with your community. Second, I also want to acknowledge and thank our LVMS administration for hosting the 6th grade parent orientation on Wednesday, May 29th. This event proved to be another great success and continues to demonstrate how LVMS is working to ensure our rising 5th graders feel fully supported in their transition to middle school. And we just want to wish everybody a great summer break. And with that, I'm going to move to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you.